Oh, all right. So let's make sure my mic is on. And I think my head's a little cut off. Give me 1 second here. Well, you know what? A light would be a great idea. Let's put a light on. There we go. Okay, can everyone hear me okay? Joining in. All right. You can see the couch in its full glory. Yeah, this couch, it's seen better days. It's seen better days. I'm gonna have to like do a little update video at some point to show how things in my place are slowly deteriorating. But this couch, I think I've sat down on it too many times with something in my pocket, so now there's like little holes in it. Yeah, it's seen better days. And I have a cat right here who might be getting into frame now and then. And hopefully she will not knock anything over as we go. Oh, and I see Andrea is on moderating. Thank you, Andrea. Hope everyone's doing all right out there. I'm trying something a little bit different this time with my setup. You see, I've got this board here, and I've got a little laptop in front of me, so I'm reading any questions anyone has. Just go ahead and shout it out there. As we're going along, I've got a few matters of business here. I've got a little piece of paper with some news, exciting things going on in the channel. And in between each of those points, I'll take some questions. If you've got a super chat, thank you for those. I'll definitely answer those. But you don't need to do a super chat if you don't want. That's fine. I'll just might not be able to get to everybody. But we'll see how we go. One exciting thing is this here. I don't think I have used this before in the live stream, but I got myself a fancy microphone. So I don't know if anyone can tell at all, but I'm trying to like up my production value a little bit here. And what I was using before was just like a really cheap like run and gun microphone that you put on top of the camera. And this one here is like high up there, kind of like boom mic. One thing I don't like, and just like it's a personal pet peeve of mine, is when I see a YouTube channel or a YouTube video where they're talking into a microphone in front of their face. Does that bother anybody else, or is it just me? A lot of people do that. So I normally don't like to have it in frame. I put it like a little bit out, but I think in the case of a live stream, it's kind of doing it casual, but usually I put it out over there. So hopefully that's made a difference. You've noticed a jump in my quality there. So today I have a few things to talk about. I've got tours coming up, and I want to talk about like how that happened. They're pretty much all sold out, but there's one tour that still has some seats in it. So I'll pitch that. I put a link in the description below about that, but I'll talk about that a little bit and just like how that happened, because that's a really exciting development for the channel, is that I'm doing tours now. And hopefully that's going to be something that'll keep going. And that's good for a number of reasons, but we'll get into that in a second. I also have some space durian. So this is a freeze-dried durian. So if you're an astronaut, this is the kind of durian for you. And I'll be reviewing that in a little bit. I want to talk about the new series about spices that I released last week, I think was the first one. And I've got a few already in the bag coming up in the oncoming weeks. And I've got a little bit of traveling that's going to be happening up in the near future as well. So exciting things, a lot of exciting things. So first of all, I'll take a quick look here to see if anyone has any questions right away. We've got somebody watching from Laos. Write that down. Well, hello, write that down. Thanks for joining us. I love Laos. I really want to go back to Laos. That's probably one of my favorite countries that I've been to. I went to Laos and I went I flew into Vientiane, and then I went all the way up to the north, and then went down the Namo River back down, and it was incredible. It was really incredible. Most people that go to Laos, they end up going into Vientiane, and then they go up to an area, I think it's called Vieng Vieng, which is like it's known for being like a hippie hotspot. So you go there, and people go like inner tubing, and everything has like marijuana in it. I didn't go there. I didn't go there. And then there's also Luang Prabang, which is like the main draw. It's like a UNESCO historical site. And honestly, I was not super thrilled with Luang Prabang. My favorite part of Laos was just going out in the nature. It's such a beautiful country. There's beautiful cliffs everywhere. And just like going to like some of the smaller villages was such a cool experience. And I went to an area called Sam Nua, which is like the biggest capital in Laos. But I get like nostalgic thinking about it. I really love Laos. All right, so so I'll take one. That wasn't a question, was it? Let me take one question here. Let's see. Well, there's a lot of great questions here. So Andrew Kim asked, how do you get money for taking trips? Is it just from the contortionist job requiring you to go to that country? I do travel quite a lot for work. It's like for those that don't know, I'm a professional circus performer. So I work doing contortion and sideshow, so fire eating, sword swallowing, stuff like that. And that does give me the opportunity to travel a lot. But generally, that is a more domestic traveling. It doesn't really bring me international all that often. A little bit, but not all that often. So because of that, it's a great way for me to like travel around the US, sometimes Canada, sometimes like closer around. I get to travel around the country a lot, but not usually internationally. That stuff that I pay for myself. And that is at this point with YouTube in the beginning, like that was just, I would save up from performing and I do trips that way. But now that, my YouTube channel has grown the way that it has, I budget it out. Like YouTube does bring me enough income through, ad revenue, and Patreon is a huge help. If anyone wants to join Patreon, that really does help out the channel. So that funds these trips. Trips are, not cheap. So that helps fund these trips, and also fancy new microphones and expensive fruit that is hard to get your hands on. That's all thanks to you guys. I mean, in the beginning, I was paying for it with my performing, and now YouTube, at least, it's not like bringing me like tons of money or anything, but at least can keep this going. All right, so I want to talk about exciting things. So first, I think let's talk about the Trova trip stuff. I think that's a good thing to talk about right off the bat. So if you haven't seen it, I've posted a couple of videos about it, a lot of community posts, but basically I'm doing tours now, not right away. The first one's not going to be until November of 2022. So just over a year from now. And that's going to be in Thailand. And then I have another trip, which I didn't post a video about, which I'll explain why in a second, which is going to be to Vietnam, which is great. Speaking of, how I'm going to afford to travel, this is a great way to do that. And it's also a way to kind of give something to the viewers as well. I think this is a really good situation, I think. And so let me bring you back to the beginning. So I have always, people have asked me before, like if I would ever do a trip, or if they could pay me to like go on a tour with me, or or things like that. And I never thought it was something that I would be able to do just because of, traveling is not easy. Traveling, there's always some sort of stressful thing that happens. Things don't always go according to plan. And I think that if I were to do that on my own, just like put together a trip and take care of all that on my own, that's a lot of responsibility. And I think doing that safely and in a way where it's not going to have a bunch of issues, I didn't feel like I was up to that task. Traveling can be a lot, especially if you're going to the sort of places that I like to go to, like markets and stuff like that. They can be kind of chaotic. So I kind of put that aside, like if maybe something to do in the future. But then I saw one of the YouTube channels that I watch. Maybe I'm sure there's other people watching who are familiar with it. There's a channel I like called Glenn and Friends, and it's a great channel. The guy it's like kind of like a experiment kitchen. So he like makes sodas and stuff like that. It's fun. I don't normally watch like cooking stuff because that has something to do with like what I do, and I try to kind of not watch things that are like what I make. But I feel like with Glenn and Friends, I make an exception. So I watch it, and he made a video announcing that they were going to Mexico and Japan. And I was like, and he was talking about like their process of doing it, and that they were going to be doing it with a company, Trova Trip. And I was like, all right, yeah. Maybe this is maybe that's a way to, maybe, excuse me. Maybe that's a way to go. Maybe I should look into this Trova Trip thing. The very next day, I kid you not, I get an email from Trova Trip asking if I would be interested in doing a tour. It was like the next, maybe like 2 days. It was like within 48 hours, I get an email to do it when I already kind of like had that seed in my mind to contact them. So it ended up being like a total coincidence. But yeah, I saw the video. I was like, oh, it kind of like got me excited about doing it. And then they contacted me, and they wanted to kind of like judge things out and to see if people would be interested in coming on a trip with me. And how we did it, as I made a video doing a survey to see if anybody would be interested in going on a trip with me and where they'd be interested in going. It's kind of like seeing like what people would like to do. And I think how Trova Trip started was more of like Instagram. They would do like a lot of like Instagram models, like people who do yoga and stuff like that. It was not specifically for like my sort of content, but they're like now they're casting like a wider net. And yeah, so I put the survey out, and people in the places that they wanted to go. The number one place was Thailand, and then it was Vietnam, and then it was Indonesia, and then I think it was Japan after that. So I was like, okay, let's put a trip to Thailand together. So I worked with them to create an itinerary. They had like already an itinerary set up to go to Thailand, where you go to markets, you go to like to a cooking class, and like all these things that really already kind of naturally work with what I was interested in. So I made one small change to it, which was to add the Mae Klong Railway Market, which is a market which is incredible because a train goes through it. So people set up a market on the train tracks. And I think like probably like how that works is, it was a station. People on the train get off and they want to get like a snack or something. So it makes sense for a market to kind of build around a station. It happens a lot. But maybe because there's so many vendors, people started putting their stuff right on the tracks. They ran out of space. And this is something that exists in multiple places in Thailand, but this is probably the most notorious for it, because it's like people set up like on the tracks, like all the way down, like by the station. And then when the trains come in, everybody like clockwork just sets everything aside. They part all their things. Sometimes they put like some of their produce right on the tracks, so the train goes over it without crushing it. And then when the train goes by, in 10 seconds, they put it all back. It's like, I saw it when I went to Thailand the first time, and it's incredible. It is an incredible thing. So I'm like, we need to go there. So I told them about that, and they talked to their contacts in Thailand, and they worked it out, and they added that in. So it was, the itinerary was already pretty much perfect, and then I made it like a little bit more specialized by adding that in. And so I put that up, and it sold out like immediately. Like how they do it is that they have an early notification like email list, so you can sign up for this email, and then they will send you a link to it before it goes public. So the link went up, and then it sold out within 2 hours, which is impressive. But a part of it is also that I've restricted these groups to be small. I think they normally want like 20 to 25 people, which I feel is that's too much to be going through like narrow markets. I felt like it would be better to keep it a little bit more intimate. So I told them I just want 12 as a max. So because of that, it sold out instantly. So they're like, okay, well, that sold out. Let's do another week. Can you do another week? I was like, yeah, sure. So it's going to be one tour for 1 week in November. And then immediately after, there's going to be a second one with a second group. So 24 people can come to Thailand. But the second trip sold out also within like a couple of hours. They both did. So Thailand booked up really fast. And Trova Trip was like, okay, well, it seems like people really want to go on tours with you. Would you be interested in doing another trip? And I was like, yeah, let's go to the second place that people suggested, which was Vietnam. So that one, I didn't make a video about it because there was already people waiting in line to get seats for Thailand. So I offered it to them. Sold out. Sold out very quickly again. And there is one more. There's going to be one more trip like with Thailand where I'm doing 2 back-to-back. I'm doing the same thing with Vietnam where there will be a second Vietnam trip. And that one is not sold out. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh man, like I really wanted to go on that trip, you can do it. I put the link in the description where you can get on the waiting list for the first Vietnam trip. And then you can get on that one. So it's really limited. So if you're interested, definitely sign up for the waiting list. Or if you're not sure, sign up for the email list, and that will keep you updated with this trip and any future trips as well. But I'm really excited about this because, I mean, for one, this sounds like a lot of fun. And also, it's a good way to get more content for the channel. Like traveling is not cheap, So for me to continue to do all these tour to do all this traveling to find fruit is, it ends up being rather costly. So to have this sort of situation where I'm doing tours, like I get to travel more. You get to travel with me. It's really like a beautiful sort of thing. Like this is going to be really good for the channel, I think. And I'm not thinking about a third country as of yet because this is all pretty far into the future now. Vietnam, by the way, is not until May of 2023. I want it to be like the end of 2022 after Thailand, but things are not in season in Vietnam until the spring. So I was like, okay, well, let's do the next available time where we would be able to find fruit, which is going to be May. But yeah, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be a good thing. And then once the Thailand trip happens, and maybe there'll be some more trips coming up in the future after that. But this is gonna be a way to get a lot more content for the channel. It's gonna be good for the channel to help it grow. It's gonna be good for anyone who wants to travel with me. I think that's really cool. Like when I saw Glenn and friends had it, I was like, oh, like I would do that. Like, that's really fun. Like to go on a trip with somebody that you watch on YouTube. That's a cool idea. That'd be a great experience, I think. So Yeah, I think this is gonna be a good thing. And the Vietnam trip I didn't mention. I basically like worked with them from the ground up for this one. Like they didn't have it as something that was offered. They had North Vietnam, and it was good, but it was not like dealing with the sort of content that I would like, the sort of itinerary I would like, because people, the majority of fruit orchards and farms are all in the south of Vietnam, not in the north. So it I was like, well, like North Vietnam would be incredible. Like the markets are really good and everything, but I want to like look at the farms. I want to go to the orchards. So is there anything in that we could do in southern Vietnam? And they're like, well, they had like something. It wasn't available as an itinerary on their site, and they worked with me and the tour companies, and we put something together that's very unique, and I don't think it's going to be offered like in like anywhere else on their site. This is like specifically like fruit hunting. So we're going to floating markets, which are really cool. Floating markets are great. It's like in Vietnam, they're like especially interesting. It's basically like areas where people from all over Vietnam come by boat with certain wares that they're growing or that they have to sell, including fruits and plants and vegetables. They bring that in from their villages on their boats to these floating markets, and you go straight up to the boat in order to buy things. So you can go like boat to buy something, or they come up to like a pier and you buy things straight off the boat, which is so cool. So it's like going from like somebody's home to the market, and it gives you like an opportunity to get things that are very diverse. Like really incredible like plant diversity can be found at these types of markets. So I really wanted to do a lot of those, and I found also there was like an orchard that had Burmese grapes growing, which are like a rare plant. They're related to some of the things that I tried in Borneo, but they look really cool. Like they grow from the tree like ornaments. Like they're just like like these little like kind of like spherical baubles that hang from these trees. They look really neat. And the ones I had in Borneo, they're interesting. Like they taste like maybe a little bit like lychee, something like that. A little bit like rambutan, but they've got like their own little thing to it too. And this particular type I've never had, but I've had some related species to it. I had one called the Gentic, which I got at a tribal market in I forget the town, but it was like middle of Borneo, of Malaysian Borneo, kind of off the beaten trail a little bit. And they call it Gentic because Gentic means flick. And I think if you say Gentic, I might be getting this a little bit confused, but it's like Gentic also means like a grub, like a little grub, like a worm or like whatever. So it's called that because like to open it, they're small little things, and you like flick it and it opens, and then inside it looks like a little grub. So it kind of makes sense. And they tasted like salsa. They were like sweet and fruity, but they also tasted a little bit like onions and tomatoes. That was a weird one. That was a very weird fruit. So yeah, if you haven't seen that video, check out the Borneo videos. Those are found a lot of really interesting things there. But that one comes to mind. But that is related to the one that's in Vietnam. Anyway, yeah. So I think I talked enough about that, but it's going to be good. I think this is going to be a good thing for the channel. It'll be good for anyone who's asked me in the past, like, can I go on a trip with you? Now you can do it. It's it's going to be a little while till this happens, but my hope is that this is going to be a good thing. It's going to happen. It might be a little rusty for the first one because I haven't done this before, but I'm excited about it. And then hopefully it'll be something that'll keep happening in the future. So that is that. And again, if you wanted to do the trip and you didn't get a spot, check out the description. I should be there. There's a link to the waiting list for Vietnam. It's sold out, but there's going to be a second one. And even if that one sells out, I think you can sign on to be in the loop of future trips, because these are such a small group that they're probably never going to go public. It's just going to be to email only or people who are on waiting lists. It's going to be kind of exclusive VIP sort of thing. So if you're interested, check it out. All right. So I saw a super chat fly by while I was yammering on there. Let's see. Chris Colwick. Vostok is coming to help answer this question with me. Hi. Chris says, Chris is going to Thailand. Well, thank you for signing up for that, Chris. He says, is it possible to connect with people going on these trips so we can get to know each other? I want to know who I'm going to Thailand with. That's a good question. I was actually talking about that the other day, that we should probably do something before the trip, like do like a Zoom meeting or something, just to kind of like get ready for it, like what you need to do. And I think that's maybe I'll talk to Trova about that first, just to make sure that I sign contracts and stuff. I want to make sure that we're doing everything like the proper way. But yes, hi. I'm busy. Okay. So I will I'll check with them, but I think that's a good idea. I think what I'll probably do, I don't know. There's got to be a way. Maybe we can make like a Facebook group or something for people, or something like that. I'm open to suggestions, but that's a really good idea. We should do that, just so you're not just like thrown into the trip, and it gives you a chance to like meet everybody, make some friends before you make friends. That's a good idea. Thank you for the question. Okay, let me take another question here. Vostok, by the way, is a very, very needy cat. She was that way before the pandemic, and since the pandemic, where I've been spending a lot more time home, she's gotten even needier. So now anytime I am sitting in this couch, she wants to be involved. So if anything happens with the live stream where it gets interrupted, that's probably because she's walking on the keys. But she's staring at herself in the on the screen. You're so cute. You're annoying, but you're cute. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was going to take a question, and Upstate Craze asked if I've had the Indian cucumber. Yes, I have. I made I think I reviewed that one on the channel, but I reviewed it in not a normal episode. I think I reviewed that in the week that I went fruitarian. So I think it was a couple of years ago now, maybe 2-3 years ago, I went fruitarian for a week to see what would happen. And it was a very interesting experience. But I think I picked that up during that time, and I reviewed it in one of those episodes. So if you haven't seen that series, check it out. But yeah, they're interesting. Indian cucumbers are they can be really big. I actually saw some of them for sale today, and they almost look like melons. Like they're like big like this sometimes, and they're like tan colored or brown. And they would make really good pickles, I think, because they're so big. Like if you were to cut those into slices, one pickle slice would be enough for an entire burger. The flavor of them, if I remember correctly, is not anything too odd. It just tasted like a cucumber to me. Maybe a little bit different, but nothing too strange about it. So yeah, they're interesting looking for sure. And I'm not sure exactly what people do with those in India. I think maybe they make curries with them. So yeah, I saw them today, and I almost picked one up, being yeah, I should probably give this a proper review. But yeah, they're cool. They're cool looking. And let's take one more question, and then we'll move on to the next order of business. Some fruit you want to blet before you eat it. Yes, that's true. A lot of people are saying that the cat is cute. Glad you think so. She's annoying, but she's cute. I got the question: blueberries or bilberries? Oh, that's how you get an international incident on your hands. But I'd say like overall, probably bilberries. They're good. They're really good. Blueberries that you like forage wild though, probably just as good. Blueberries that you get from the supermarket, I find a little bland usually. But if you're getting like a nice, freshly picked blueberry, they're real good. Want to help me with this? There you go. All right, she's being a little distracting. I love that cat, but it makes it a little hard for me to focus on things. So, okay, let's see. Let's move on to the next order of business. Let's review the space durian. I'm excited about this. So this is freeze-dried Monton durian, and it says the first durian in space. So there's a closer look at it. And this was sent to me by yearofthedurian.com. Lindsay over at Year of the Durian sent me a big box full of things of last week. I got some durian varieties that I haven't had, some snake fruit varieties she's got, and a durian candy or durian paste where you take durian and you like boil it down into like a gel and you eat it kind of like a gummy. So that's going to be coming up in future episodes, but I thought this would be a good thing to try in a live stream. And this is basically Monton durian, which is the probably the most common variety of durian that you'll find if you go to Thailand. And if you go to like a supermarket in the US or anywhere that's not in an area that durian grows, and you see a freezer full of durians that have been like frozen into like rocks, it's usually Monton durian. However, those are not good Monton durians. The ones that Lindsay over at Year of the Durian ends up using are ones that are usually tree dropped, so they have like a better flavor, and they're also like not frozen to death. So this should taste pretty good. This shouldn't taste like the ones you get at supermarkets in the US. And yeah, it's durian in space because, like, I don't know if this is something that kids still know about, but I know I have some kid viewers. When I was younger, they would sometimes sell astronaut ice cream. They take like an ice cream sandwich and freeze dry it, and then you bite it, and it's like eating, I don't know, somewhere between like styrofoam and chalk. I actually really like it. It has like a great, like weird, crispy, crunchy texture. I like astronaut ice cream. So like sometimes that would show up at like Toys R Us when I was younger. But there is no more Toys R Us. I'm not sure if you can still get your hands on astronaut ice cream, but you can get your hands on astronaut durian. So that's a pretty good trade, I'd say. Durian, when it's frozen, is kind of ice cream like, so maybe this is going to have like a similar sort of feel to it. Let's see if I can get this to focus here. There you go. And this is light as can be. This is like a packing peanut. Oh, I just took a picture of myself. Okay, good. All right, so whoa, that smells like durian. Durian is a very funky fruit, and when you freeze dry it, it's still funky. Wow. It's very dry, so give me a second to swallow this. That little nibble was like eating like a big hunk of durian. That's really, really strong. Oh man. And that's durian for sure. It's got all the components. It's got an eggy taste. It's got a bit of like a fruity flavor, like almost like berries. It's got a vanilla taste, and it has an oniony taste. So durian is not for everybody because it does have that savory sort of flavor. And some durians are more funky than others. So I think the problem that a lot of people have that do not like durian is that they end up eating ones that are very funky first. And then they're like, like what is this thing that tastes like, onions and feet? Like ends up being a little too much. See, what you got to do is start with something that's mild, like a mild variety of durian, and then work your way up. Or start with like durian ice cream. If you have like durian ice cream, that's a great way to do it. That's kind of how I did it. Like I had like regular durian first and was like, I'm okay with this, but I don't know if I want to eat this like that often. But then I started getting durian ice cream when I was traveling around in Asia. And I was like, oh yeah, this is really good. It's like taking vanilla ice cream and like a custard and just like adding like a little bit of like a sharpness to it. Durian ice cream is really, really, really good. And eating that got me into eating funkier and funkier durians. So now, like, I love funky durian. And this, I would say that this is a funky durian. This is definitely for advanced users of durian. It's really good. And it being freeze-dried, I'm shocked at how much of the durian taste is there. You would think that freeze-drying it would like take some of the flavor out or something. Because when you freeze durian, if you eat like frozen durian, it kind of cuts some of the funkiness a little bit, and that's a trick that they say. Like if you don't like durian, try eating it frozen. And this is not weak. This is, if anything, a little bit stronger than a regular Monton durian. It's more concentrated. You bite into it, and it's like that astronaut ice cream, which got like this crispy, crunchy, dry sort of feel when you bite it. That's nice. I like that texture, but then it like melts in your mouth. So right now it feels like I've got that gum from Willy Wonka, where it's like it continues to give you flavor. I'm still getting durian flavor just from that little bite that I took. Oh, yeah. If you like durian, like funky durian, that is a way to get your fix. Just put some of this in like in your bag, and like whenever you're like, oh man, I need to be like eating like a big hunk of durian right now, just take a little nibble of this. That'll do it. If you don't like durian, I would not recommend this. I would recommend trying a different type of durian. And thanks to Year of the Durian for sending this to me. Got a cat hair on my tongue. They didn't send me that. That was this cat over here. But yeah, if you don't like durian, I wouldn't recommend this. I would recommend maybe trying something else from Year of the Durian. They have milder varieties, which I've reviewed a lot of them on this channel. But yeah, that's cool. That's a fun one. I've had a few freeze-dried things in live streams in the past, and yeah, I think it's cool. I had like some freeze-dried Djibouti Kaba last time, I think. And those are like real power. Like freeze-drying is like an interesting development. I've noticed like a few places selling that now. Like if you go to like Whole Foods, I think you get like freeze-dried fruit, and yeah, I kind of like it. I like that texture. I think it's maybe not for everybody, but like I definitely like it. All right. And I think through the rest of this live stream, just from taking that, I'm only half of this piece. I'm going to be tasting durian every time I take a sip of water or a sip of tea here. All right, so let's take another question or two. Would I vape durian? I wouldn't vape anything, honestly. But yeah, why not? I'm sure you could. I'm sure there is durian vapes out there. 100% sure. It's got no way there isn't. People vape in Malaysia, and like there's everything durian. I have had durian ice cream, durian candy, durian paste, durian coffee, durian fritters, durian cake, durian pancakes, durian custard. There's like everything durian. And like it's not like it's like this is a specialty thing. It's like everywhere you go, there is durian if you go to Southeast Asia. Like I remember going into, I think it was at the airport or something when I was in Malaysia, and they had like one of those like machines that you can get like coffee out of. You put like $1 in, and like a little cup falls down and it fills with coffee. Durian coffee was in there, just like side of the road place. It's not like it is like everywhere, and for a good reason. Like once you get into durian, you want to keep eating durian. All right, so durian coffee is banned now. Is it really? Caesar Catalin asked, do you think that durian and baobab fruit is a good mix? No, I don't think so. Maybe. No, I don't think so. I wouldn't, baobab and durian are both like very unique flavors. Like durian's got a lot going on in there. So does baobab. Like baobab does have a creaminess the same way that durian does. Baobab tastes a little bit like yogurt and a little bit of like lemons. It's like lemony yogurt. And when you eat it with the seed, it's like there's an almond in there. And I think it's such a good odd taste. I really love baobab, but I think like you don't want to add anything to it. Like maybe add a little bit of one of those elements, like add some more lemon to it. Might make it a little bit more like a lemonade and less like a yogurt drink. Or add some yogurt to it, like sprinkle some baobab powder on your yogurt and kind of lean into the yogurt taste. I think you got to work with that baobab. I wouldn't take a complex flavor and mix it with it. It's like it's two strong flavors meeting. I don't think it would work. But baobab's really cool. Baobab's good. I actually found a baobab for sale in New York City the other day, like at an African market. It was like dried out from like decades ago, but yeah, it's kind of weird to see that. It's like I bought it, and it's like I'm going to put this on my shelf. Because baobabs, they actually dry out on the tree, so when you crack them open, it is like filled with like these seeds with kind of like a tight powder around it. Actually, baobab texture is not unlike this freeze-dried durian right here. So that might be part of like why I like it, because I do like that kind of like dry texture. But yeah, baobab is like already astronaut food in a way. Like you could take a baobab to space, like no problem. All right. Let me take a quick look here. I didn't miss any super chats, did I? I don't think so. All right. Yes. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Super chats I will definitely get to. And regular questions, I will answer some of those as well, of course. I got a question from me. Would I recommend jackfruit seeds found at a local Asian market? No. I mean, sure, if you've never had it, but my favorite thing about jackfruit is that if you buy a hunk of jackfruit, like very often, I mean, I wouldn't recommend buying a big one unless you got a big family. But if you buy like a hunk of jackfruit, the seeds are like a bonus, you know? I think the seeds don't taste like incredible. They're good, but they're not like incredible or anything. If you haven't had it before, then yeah, I would recommend trying it. But why buy the seeds on their own when you could buy them with delicious jackfruit, you know? So I'd recommend buying the jackfruit hunk, eating the fruit, and then roasting the seeds yourself. I know a lot of times the Asian markets will like separate them out. Like they'll like take the seeds out of the jackfruit and sell the fruit and the seeds separately. And I don't know why, you know? I feel like you probably get it for cheaper and it'll be more fun if you do it yourself, you know? It's like, I don't know. It's like when you go to the supermarket and they sell like apple cut up in slices. It's like, who's buying that? Who's buying a pre-cut apple? It's like, just bite into it, you know? Like I'm not really into like the whole like separating things and cutting them up and selling them for like 10 times as much. I think if you go to buy like a jackfruit, like, buy a hunk, do it yourself, and yeah, you'll have a better time that way. And speaking of jackfruit, I want to do that in the future. I want to take another look at jackfruit. I had jackfruit on this channel long ago. It was like episode like 10 or something. And I've never bought just like the big jackfruit like on its own. So I think it'd be fun to do like a snout to tail with the jackfruit. Like buy the whole thing, butcher it, like cut it apart, prepare the seeds, prepare like I think you can eat the little bits in it even when it's ripe. You can eat the fruit and then you can save I think you can save the little bits that are around the fruit and you can cook that like a fake meat like you would do with like unripe jackfruit, I think. But yeah, I want to like look into it a little bit and maybe like do a full episode with like a big jackfruit in the future. I think that'd be fun because it's been I've been doing this channel for like 10 years now, like almost 10 years. And there's some sins of my past, you know, like in this channel. Like I've kind of glanced over some things in the early years of making content here, and I feel like I need to revisit things and kind of like do more justice to some of my favorite fruits. And I think jackfruit is a big one. I mean, when I first reviewed jackfruit like 10 years ago, you could not get it in the US. Not easily, maybe at like some very specialty shops, but it was not common. Now they're everywhere. Now it's like real common. And I feel like maybe that's a reason to kind of like take a closer look now that I have more available to me. All right, so let's let me take another sip of tea here, and I've got some other things to talk about, and we're going on 50 minutes here. Let's make it a solid hour. So let me move on to the next thing. We're running a little short on time here. Someone asked me earlier on how I travel, how I afford to go on all these trips and everything, and if that is funded by my performing, and if I'm just finding fruit when I'm performing, like. And if you didn't hear that bit, domestically, yes, like whenever I'm performing, like in the country, if I'm like flying to Texas or something, I will like take a minute to go to a farmer's market if I can. But usually I'm not traveling internationally. But I don't want to give too much away here, but I do have a trip coming up as an entertainer. It's not anything that the public would be able to go to. It's like private sort of events, but it's going to be taking me down to Central America and South America. So, one thing that this is exciting because it will give me an opportunity to maybe get to some markets and maybe make a few videos here and there. But the negative with performing is that very often when I'm doing gigs as an entertainer, doing like stage shows, I am like flying in, going to the venue, doing the gig, being exhausted, going back to my hotel, falling asleep, and then like getting out of there the next morning. Like, I don't usually have a lot of time to travel. When I do have time, when I'm able to work out my own travel and everything, then I do give myself a little bit of time to check out like markets and things. So there's restrictions around it, but I feel like maybe I'll be able to get to a couple markets on this trip. I'm not expecting like a ton of content, but I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get a couple videos out of some of Central and South America for that, and that'll be coming up in a couple months. I'll be doing that, so that's going to be something exciting for the future. Probably won't be showing up on the channel anytime soon, but it's cool that there's going to be more countries that I'll be visiting in the future. I've been to, I think, 26 countries now on this channel, and the next like 2 years, just with what I'm doing with Trova Trip, with these tours, and with this trip coming up to Central America, I think by like 2023, I'm probably going to be at like 30 countries, and I'm not going to have tons of time to go to markets and review fruit, but there should be a little bit of time in there. So let's see what happens. I'm not too sure what's going to happen, but I'm hopeful that a few good things will come my way for the channel while I'm doing that. So let's take another question. And am I planning on going to Paraguay someday? I would like to go to every country. Paraguay is not in my immediate list, but I would like to. Like I say, like more immediately for the future travels. Besides the things that I'm doing with the tours, link in the description, and with the trip I'll be taking soon to Central and South America, I would like to go to Australia. I was going to go like right when the pandemic hit. So if I went on that trip, I had the tickets in my hand. I bought the tickets. If I went on that trip, I would have gone to Australia and immediately be put into quarantine in Australia for 2 weeks. And it was a 2-week trip that I booked for myself. So I'd be in a hotel and then have to go back home. So I am lucky that I dodged that bullet, that I didn't go to Australia that time. But I still want to go. I really want to go to Australia. There's a lot of cool stuff there. So that will be hopefully, once I'm able to, I'll be going to Australia. And I would like to go to Brazil. Brazil's big on the list. I've been wanting to go to Brazil for a long time. So that's going to be a big one. There's some other things I got on the back burner that I'm not quite ready to talk about yet, but there's gonna be a lot of travel coming up in the future. Okay, let's move on to the next order of business. Spices. So, last 2 weeks ago, I put a video out on the cubeb pepper, which is a relative to black pepper. Like black pepper is Piper nigrum, I believe is what it is. That's the species of it. But there's like a bunch. There's like a bunch, like maybe like 1,000 different species of pepper, and they're all very different. Some of them taste like root beer. Some of them taste like mint. There's great differences between different Piper species. And I made a video on the cubeb pepper, and also kind of like dug into the history a little bit. Cubeb pepper used to be used. Well, I've got it right here. Used to be used to make menthol cigarettes, or not menthol, but asthma cigarettes. You'd smoke one of these cigarettes in order to cure respiratory problems, and they would put this cubeb in there. Where does it say? Yeah, Marshall's prepared cubeb. So I find spices very interesting. I love going to the market and picking up spices and being like, I don't know what this is, so I'm going to take it home. And that's something I've always done. You know, as long as I've been going to grocery stores, I've been like leaving with some sort of weird little packet of spice. And I was just thinking, like, I want to put a little bit more content out there. Like every Sunday, I post a video about fruit. Every Wednesday, I post a video about something else. That's how I've been doing things for a little while now. And I wanted something to be like a little bit quicker, easier to do, that would have some sort of connection to fruits and plants. So that's how spices kind of clicked with me. So the kind of like the theme, or like the way I'm going to set these up is, you know, show the spice, give a little history about the spice, and then in the end do something with it that's kind of like working with the flavor of the spice, either a recipe that is common, or, you know, like in the case of cubeb, I made avocado toast with it because it had like a minty, peppery taste, and I thought that would go well with that. It was all right, you know, like wasn't like a total win, but like that's normally what I would be doing on my own. Like I do that for fun. I buy spices and I try to do something with it. So this series, this little side series that I'll be posting on Wednesdays in the future, which is going to be called Spice Finds, that's going to explore spices this way. So the next one coming up, which I think is actually next Wednesday, is going to be on the Saline Pepper, which is also used kind of like a black pepper, but it's used specifically in African countries. In West Africa in particular, people use it. And it's really good. It's a good spice. Like I've used it before. It's just hard to find. And when you do find it, it's kind of expensive because it's not common here. But it's great. It's got a very interesting taste. It's kind of peppery, but there's a lot of other little notes to it. It's like very interesting spice. So yeah, anyway, so I got my hands on this spice, and my video is going to be, again, like show the spice off, what it looks like, what it tastes like raw, and a little bit of history about it, and then I'm going to make something with it. And let's keep what I make a little bit of a surprise. It's going to be on Wednesday. It's not too far off. And then coming up after that, I'm going to be looking at winged prickly ash, which is like Szechuan, but it's the Szechuan that is used in Nepal. If you've had momos, which are like Nepalese dumplings, that is like the key ingredient in the sauce that you put the momos in, is that spice. So it's got like a Szechuan kind of vibe, but it's also very different. So the whole idea of this series will be to explore spices that are not easy to find, that, you know, have their place. Like maybe like a certain country really likes it. It's used by a culture, but it's not something that you're going to find easily at a supermarket, you know, in my country, in the US. So yeah, there's a lot that I want to do with that. There's so many spices out there that I could be doing this just as long as I've been doing the fruit videos. So I think that'll be a fun one. I mean, the problem that I have is, like, my original thought to make this series was to create a video that would be just kind of like quick and easy to put out. Like, oh yeah, get a spice, review it, do something with it. And as with everything that I do, I end up getting kind of excited about it, and then it ends up being a bigger project than I thought. So the Spice Finds videos will be probably more like the fruit videos. I'm going to try to kind of keep it a little bit easier on me, but, you know, the good thing with them is that spice does not go bad and fruit does. So it makes it a little bit less pressing. Like I can do them at my own leisure. But with fruit, like when I get a fruit, someone like sends me a fruit in the mail, I'm like, okay, I got to do this now while it's still good. So I think it'll be a little bit easier for me to do this as a side series. All right, I think that is all of my notes here. I have a note, shout out to my video that I posted today. If you didn't see it, it's on the Pine Barrens, which is a really weird forest that's in New Jersey. And this forest has like all these really interesting plants in it. And probably the most common plant there and most notorious plant is the pitch pine, which, in order for it to propagate its seeds, it needs to be set on fire. the pine cones will not release their seeds unless they are burned. So it's a creepy place. It's a really cool place, and yeah, it was fun. I went there for my my last birthday. I just turned 36 years old right here. That was about just about a month ago. I turned 36, so that's when I filmed that video, and it was fun. It was a fun little adventure, and yeah, if you didn't see it, check that out. I will take. Andrea says it was spooky, very spooky. Came across a monster when I was there. And I will take one more question here. Just want to double check that I didn't miss any super chats. I don't think I saw any flyby. So I'll take a couple regular questions. Repeat Defender asked, how's Vostok, and is she named after the Antarctic subterranean lake? That's from Repeat Defender. Repeat Defender must have watched Today I Found Out today, or last week. I saw that episode too, and I named Vostok, my cat. She's I show her, but she's eating right now. I named her after that area. Yes, so like my original idea for my cat is I had the name first. I was just like, this is what I want. I want 2 cats. One of them is going to be named Kalal. I think that's the name, after the world's hottest place, which I think is in Ethiopia. And this place is like, it's on fire. You go there, it's just like an inferno. And I wanted to get like a little black cat named after the hottest place. And I wanted to get a second cat to keep Kalal company, named Vostok, named after the coldest place, which is an area in Antarctica, and is the coldest place in the earth, in the world. So I was kind of like going through like Pet Finder, like, you know, swiping for cats, and I came across Vostok. So Vostok, she's like a white cat with spots. I was like, there's my white cat. And not just that, she's got heterochromia. So like one of her eyes is like blue and the other one's green. So she's got like a little like night walker sort of thing going with her. And a little bit like David Bowie too. So like, perfect. That is my cat. You're coming home with me. So I brought Vostok home. She had a name before she was her adoption agency name was actually named after Game of Thrones. It was Sansa. No. So I changed her name to Vostok. Much more powerful, meaningful name. But it was named after the area in Antarctica. And I named her that because I knew it was the coldest place. And I intended to get a little black cat, but it turns out that Vostok absolutely hates other animals. Like, she cannot be around them. She gets scared and hides. So when I picked her up from the adoption agency, she was terrified, like hiding in a corner. So I got her. I'm like, well, there's not going to be a Kalal. There's not going to be a cat named after the world's hottest place. But I do have a cat now named after the world's coldest place. And I have found out since that Vostok is also the name of the first manned space shuttle to go into outer space. So that was Vostok, the space shuttle. And I'm like, perfect. Even more perfect because she's got the David Bowie eyes and like Space Oddities, a beautiful song, and like this is all a beautiful thing. I also found out that Vostok in Russian translates to east. Cool. You know, like, why not? And the final thing that I found out is that Vostok is also the name of a lake in Antarctica. That's all I knew. But apparently there was a Today I Found Out episode recently that I saw, and it was all about that lake. And I guess like this lake in Antarctica is like, it's in the coldest place on Earth, Vostok. There is a lake, Vostok, which is at what's the word? There's like a station, like a research station that's called Vostok. So it's all Vostok. Everything is Vostok right there. And I guess that lake is like be underneath like a big layer of ice, and that they are digging a borehole to get to that lake because it's like not frozen, even though it's in Antarctica. And they think that there might be some sort of like life form there that would be like life from like millions of years ago or something. So when I watch Today, I found out I'm usually doing other things. I'll have it playing in the background sometimes. So I was like, oh yeah, but I didn't like retain all that much. Watch Today, I found out you're probably already subscribed to it. There's like millions of subscribers on that channel. But yeah, cool. Like that, I thought Vostok was such like a powerful name, just for being the coldest place and being the first manned space shuttle, and to find out that it's also the name of like this really bizarre subterranean lake that's in Antarctica that has like interesting life forms in it. Cool, right? Like that. This cat, like I don't like people name like their cat like Sprinkles and like Mittens and like whatever. I feel like giving your cat like a nice powerful name is like the way to go. Like my last cat, who you may recognize from my older videos, who she's on a cruise now, from what I've heard from my parents. Like I haven't seen her in a while, but she's on a cruise. But her name is Lethean, which is named after the river in Hades. And you drink from that river and you forget all your memories from your prior life. I love stuff like that. I'd rather name a pet something that has some sort of meaning to it. So I tend to do that. So I think Vostok is a good name for a cat. How did I get here? Yeah, somebody asked me about that in a question. Thank you for the question. Very good question. I'm always happy to talk about my cat. But I've been talking for about an hour now, losing my voice a little bit. So I think that's about it for the live stream today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out if you're interested in the trip to Vietnam that I'm going to be doing, there are still seats available. So check out the link in the description below. And thank you to Year the Durian for sending me some space durian. That was fun. And yeah. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next time. I'll probably do another one of these in about a month. Do that maybe beginning of November. All right. I'll see you then. It's always this awkward moment because I have to like go over there to turn off the stream. But